It's time for another jungle mission. And this time, we've got Bumblebee, Airazor, and Autobot Mirage. I'm very happy I was able to get this. I asked an employee at Target to check the back for me, and they did, and they had one of these left, and he got it out for me. So I'm very happy that I was able to grab this. I still haven't gotten Buzzworthy Bumblebee Optimus yet. I have him on pre-order, but his pre-order became a back order, and Target has been known lately to cancel pre-orders on things, so I'm still on the hunt for Optimus, but I do have a pre-order in, so as long as they don't cancel that, I should get it. So pretty much I'm all caught up with Rise of the Beast toys now, except for Scourge, because that Scourge toy, it doesn't look anything like him. It doesn't. The Studio Series Scourge, number one, doesn't look anything like him. And number two, if you know how I felt about Leader Class Skyquake, those feelings are very similar with Scourge. He doesn't look or feel like he's worth a Leader Class price. So, I don't know what I'll do with Scourge. I don't know if I'm just going to wait for another one, or just suck it up and pay the $55 and then pay another $20 for an upgrade kit or something. I don't know what I'm doing with Scourge, but I know what I'm doing with all the other toys. I'm going for a Studio Series and a mainline, because they all look cool. So yeah, Bumblebee actually looks really nice. He is a unique mold from the standard Studio Series one. And I always appreciate when movies have, like, different molds for Bumblebee. It's almost like every Transformers movie. I think every single one has had at least 2 different Deluxe class molds. I know the first one had the new Camaro and old Camaro. The second movie had the canon Bumblebee, and then kind of like a modified new Camaro mold. Dark of the Moon had Nitro Bumblebee, and then the standard one. Age of Extinction had High Octane, and what was it? Just the normal Age of Extinction one. And the Last Night, weirdly enough, had the weird Age of Extinction one, and then a new mold. And then Bumblebee movie had plenty of different deluxes. So it's kind of cool. We do have we're continuing that trend of having a different style of deluxe Bumblebee. This Airazor, it's kind of like a mixture between the movie design and the actual Beast Wars Airazor. I've heard nothing but great things about this figure, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And then Mirage. This is the first time I have a Mirage toy from Rise of the Beast. And this figure, number one, first impression, he's not very well painted. But number two, he's definitely based off of concept art. So he's got like the gray head crest instead of the blue like in the movie. He's got the battle mask, which I think looks cool. I kind of wish the battle mask was in the movie. Maybe it will show up. But yeah, these figures look pretty neat. Let's flip it around so we can see another look. So Bumblebee, oddly enough, he's going to have the front guard of the Camaro as like handheld weapons. I don't know. I really do like the wheel placement though, so we're going to see how this Bumblebee turns out. Airazor, I have seriously seen people say this is the best bird transformer Hasbro's ever made, so we'll see. We'll see on the Airazor. And Mirage, it's Mirage. I love the character. I'm not sure about that toy quite yet, so we'll start off with Bumblebee, because he is the one I'm most curious about. Last time I did this, these Rise of the Beast sets, I kind of did like this funny, like, cutaway thing, where I was just like, snip, snip, snip. But no one commented on that. No one said like, "Oh, that was really cool." So I'm not gonna do that again, because that took so much effort to edit that, and yeah, I just don't feel like it. So we'll snip him, and then snip that, and then snip this, and then he's got hands too. Unfortunately, it's still using the horrible old ties instead of the nice cardboard ones that I very much prefer. Okay, so he's kind of caught back there. Okay, so he's got a lot of stuff on his back. Yeah, he's seeming cool. He's seeming really cool. I don't know if I'll prefer him over the Studio Series though. We'll have to see. But here's his weird weapons. He's got he's got the weird beat sticks, I guess. Let's get those out. Come on, get out of there. There we go. Oh, he's got an extra guard. I wonder if all of that's optional. If you could have that all off or all on, that would be kind of neat. So let's just stuff that back in for now. So now, we've just got Bumblebee. So here is Bumblebee. And my first impression is actually very positive. So, like I said, I love the wheel placement, because that is far more movie accurate than what we saw with the Studio Series one. Another thing I really love, I love the little black paint on the chest. That's something that the Studio Series doesn't have. Does this fold in more? Does that go down or go up? It looks like it's going to go down like this, but there we go. A little tight. So he's definitely got a bit more of a backpack than we're used to with modern Bumblebee toys. But still, it's nothing too egregious. It's kind of interesting. Usually a lot of that car ends up on the legs, but the legs, besides the wheels, don't really have any car elements on them. He's lacking some paint, I've noticed. He could have some more paint on the limbs, but then again, the Studio Series, I could actually say the same thing about that. And I will compare it, by the way. What's this? This arm's black. Does this have like a feature? Can this rotate? Why is this arm black? Oh, it's got the cannon! That's so cool! It's got a cannon hand! Okay, I like that. I like that. We haven't seen that for a Deluxe Bumblebee in a while. I think that's really cool. I kind of like when the hand transforms from the... when the gun transforms into the hand. I really like that, instead of just like an attaching piece or a swap out. His chest comes undone pretty easily, I've noticed. But he feels really nice. This is a nice Deluxe Bumblebee, as long as his chest stays together. One thing I wish he had, the Studio Series one had hinges right there for those parts of the car, so they could kind of tilt up and look a little bit more accurate. But so far, man, in some ways I'm genuinely preferring this over the Studio Series. And the Studio Series Bumblebee, like I said in that video, is, in my opinion, the best Studio Series Bumblebee we've seen. So this is actually something that, so far, I'm going to say is worth your attention. This is seeming really cool. So, I wonder, does that hinge in more at all? I mean, I literally just opened him up. So he's got this... Oh, they turn into knives! Okay. So they're not just weird beat sticks. They actually do have something going on. So, come on, Bumblebee. Can we please stay together? That seems to be one of the biggest problems, because the torso is attached on these multi-hinges. So you just you move the back, and it hinges it, and it untabs it. So that seems to be a problem. His knees are also very tight, I've noticed. He's got very tight knees. I think he's actually a little larger than the Studio Series, too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, these are little knives. You can see they got little blades right there. And I guess they just kind of shift together. Yeah, they kind of go together pretty nice. That's cool, though. They actually form weapons. That's pretty inventive. And I guess you just have him hold it as a little knife. I thought they were just weird beat sticks. These are obviously not movie accurate. He didn't have weird little knives in the movie, but I still appreciate it. I do think that's kind of neat. I don't really think there's anywhere to store it, though. Maybe you can. Maybe we can store it on the back. As I see what will become... There it goes again. What will become the hood back here. Maybe we can just keep it plugged in. Just have it folded on its back. That'd be kind of nice, keeping it out of the way. Ooh, well, if it stays together, it would be better. So it seems like you kind of have the option to have him either with or without the off-road look. You can have it on his back, but it seems like this back panel's kind of going to give you some trouble. So, like, yes and no. This isn't going to want to fully go flush anymore. Not unless you maybe, like, have that tilted up or something. And then it just starts... Look at him. Look at him. He's looking kind of weird, kind of saggy. So yeah, you can, but it does make the back a little bit more awkward. It does also have this, too, which this goes over the windshield in the vehicle mode. And it seems like this is kind of tabs in right there. Now, I'm guessing that can just kind of stay on, you know, no real problem in the robot mode. I don't see how that would be a problem. It does have a problem because it doesn't want to stay on. Okay, can we plug in a little bit firmer, please? I really do like this Bumblebee so far, but it does have some quirks, that's for sure. So, folding that. Okay, so we can have all those accessories still stored. The only real sacrifice is that the backpack's going to be a little bit more clunky. Just a little bit more. So, I would probably suggest, you know, trying to keep this as flush as possible, because that impacts the wheels back there. And then with this, maybe just kind of dealing with that being a little lower than usual. Because I kind of want him to just not have those knives or anything. I kind of dislike him like this. It is a nice Bumblebee. It's just a shame that there's so many hinges going on back here, and it greatly impacts the stability of the torso. That seems to be the significant problem. But other than that, he looks great. He could use a little bit more paint. But other than that, you know, this is an actually very nice looking Bumblebee. I love the head. The head looks really nice. It does have a similar issue to the Studio Series, at least the first release of the Studio Series, where they didn't paint the silver around the eyes. So it does look a little too yellowy. Because he does have, like, yellow underneath his eyes, like on his cheeks. But he's supposed to have silver still around his eyes, and he doesn't have that. But I do like the sculpt, and I do think if I probably put a little bit of silver Sharpie in there like I did with the Studio Series, it would look a lot better. The chest, I really do appreciate the added paint there. That's something that I feel is really missing on the Studio Series. The accurate wheel placement, being more behind his shoulders, in my opinion, looks way better. And that's something that we haven't really seen from a Deluxe Bumblebee. Most Deluxe Bumblebees seriously just have the wheels just pop out and go behind the arms. That's where they usually always are. But this time, it's different. So I'm really interested to see how he transforms, too. His legs, there's not really any car part there, so that's something I'm very curious about. I do kind of wish some of this stayed on the legs. I think that would have made it look a lot better. But yeah, other than that, I appreciate this hand transformation. I think that's pretty cool. You just kind of wiggle it out, then do a flip, and then push it back in. That's pretty cool. So his articulation, he's got a ball joint at the head. He also has that doesn't click in too well. He has kind of hinges for the transformation at the shoulder, but he also has ball joints at the shoulder. Swivel and hinge at the elbow. Swivel at this wrist. And swivel at the articulate. Is it? No swivel there, but it does have the flip me do. He does have waist rotation, which is nice. Ball joints at the hips. Swivel at the thigh. And he's got clicky knees, oddly enough. But then his ankles are really nice. They move back and forward pretty far. And he has tilt as well. I wish he had some silver on the boots. I always like that detail about modern movie Bumblebee, the silver boots. But still, this is a pretty cool looking Bumblebee. I don't know if this piece has any robot mode integration. I'm going to say probably not. It looks like it forms a shield. Okay. So you can have these as knives, and if you have this unplugged, it can be a shield. Whoa, look at that, it's a shield. It's the most useful shield of all time, a shield with literally no substance, and it's just framework. So yeah, it's kind of bogus. I wouldn't worry about that. Let's just leave that on the vehicle. It's not like so bad that I would just glue it onto the vehicle mode, but that's kind of a bogus accessory, if you ask me. That should have just been on him. I want to love this guy. I really do. It has a lot of potential to be one of the best Deluxe Bumblebees. It's just, it falls short with some very odd design choices. And the biggest fault for me is this torso. It just does not stay together well enough. It needs a click. It needs to click. It needs to connect. And it's like, there's all these hinges too, so it's like, it's making these weird shapes. Like, maybe if it's like this, it's better? If we move the hinge like this, is this gonna... Oh. That's way more stable, but he looks stubbier. I wonder. So is this a case of, like, if it's hinged like this, it won't stay together? But if you have the back hinge like this, if you have it facing this way, it will? I'm guessing so. Because it does make his torso look a lot stubbier, but it stays together. Here, let's take that off so we can see how compact the backpack looks properly. So, I guess if you do work with that hinge back there, it still can come undone, but you saw that. It actually had a bit of a force to it. So I guess it's a little bit more stable. I would still consider it a problem, though, with all those hinges and everything. But it's not... It actually kind of got better. I'll take it. We actually have seen an improvement with this Bumblebee. So I do want to compare him, obviously, to the Studio Series, because I love the Studio Series. And I just want to see how this new one compares. So compared to the Studio Series, the new one, the main line, looks very, very underpainted. And that's funny because I feel like the Studio Series was kind of underpainted a little bit too. But man, it looks even worse next to the Studio Series. It is bigger than the Studio Series, I appreciate that. But honestly, I think the only paint really, really missing on the Studio one was a little bit of black on the chest, like how this one has. I think that's pretty much one of the only paint details. If Repro Labels makes a set for this guy, I probably will get it. I do enjoy both of these. I really do. I think they're both very nice. I am going to say the Studio Series is better. Just in the robot mode, just from what I can tell, the Studio Series is a lot better. It has a lot less backpack. It has better proportion. It has better paint. It has a better sculpt. It has some better transformation elements. The only things that I think this one really has going for it that are significantly better, I like the hand transformation, but that's, not as accurate to the movie as a personal taste thing. I love the wheel placement. I think the wheel placement here is much better. And I appreciate the little black on the torso. Other than that, I think the Studio Series is a lot better. I will not transform this in the vehicle mode. I will not do a vehicle mode comparison. I just, unfortunately, don't have time because we still have 2 other figures to talk about today. But let's get this guy transformed. Let's see how this goes. Probably not too well. So let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to assume it's pretty standard Bumblebee fare. That's what I'm assuming right away. But we'll see. We'll see. It's going together pretty fast so far, I reckon, if I'm doing it right. That's always the thing. Are you doing it right? So I guess, is the torso hinge going to hinge inward? Like that? Yeah. Okay, it's going to go inward. The feet are definitely sticking out. That's one thing. But it's going together pretty fast. Like I said, if I'm doing it right. And this is interesting how all that just flips and kind of goes over. Seems like we're struggling a little bit back there. There we go. I really do love this wheel placement. I'm not going to lie. I think that's so good. And then do the arms do anything? Yeah, they plug into the thigh. There we go. There we go. We've almost got it. The transformation is very easy, but then again, it's also very nice and fluid on the Studio Series one as well. So, it seems like we're having a little bit of a fight right on this side. There we go. There we go. Is that pretty much it? Yep, there we go. That's pretty much it. So here is the standard Deluxe Bumblebee in its vehicle mode. Yikes. So, it's a Camaro. It's a very disjointed Camaro. A Camaro that is 2 different colors of yellow. Typically, I don't point out the painted yellow versus the plastic yellow, but I feel like this time it's pretty hard to ignore. It's got the big off-road tires. I do appreciate they're pinned in. They're pinned in. That's nice. His arms and feet are just hanging off the bottom. Let's get the off-road stuff on it. Maybe this will make it look a little bit better. So, it's looking a little better. It's looking a little better. The vehicle mode's definitely not its strong suit. Definitely not. 100% not, actually. I like this Bumblebee. I do. I do like this Bumblebee toy. But it's hard to beat the Studio Series one. It's genuinely hard to beat. You know what? This vehicle mode is so weird. For my personal curiosity, I have to transform the Studio Series one. So give me a second. I'm going to transform this. Well, I already loved the Studio Series one, but transforming them both, I have a very newfound appreciation for the Studio Series one. This one is, in vehicle mode, better in every way. Way more paint. A lot more streamlined, a lot more proportionate. It's better looking in every way. In the vehicle mode, like, look at that. Look at the feet right there. There's no feet. They still both have the arms dangling down in the exact same way, which is kind of funny. But, man, it's kind of crazy. I do appreciate seeing how, like, 2 different toys, 2 different designers at a very similar price point can tackle the same problem. I think that's pretty cool. I do enjoy both of these. I 100% prefer the Studio Series. This is a 100%, I recommend this one. If you have this one already and are thinking about this one, unless you are a Bumblebee fan like I am, unless if you have a whole shelf full of different versions of Bumblebee like I do, this one's pretty neat. I do like it, but if you have this one already, you do not need this. And if you have this one and just this one, I would still probably recommend getting the Studio Series. I like them both, but Studio Series is definitely the winner, 1,000,000,000%. This one just has better wheel placement and a little bit more paint on the chest. Other than that, yeah. Alright, with Bumblebee done, let's move on to Airazor. So I'm really curious about how this Airazor is going to turn out. Like I said, I've heard nothing but great things. I really have just heard fantastic word about this toy. And that is pretty much the main thing that pushed me to decide to just go ahead and get this whole set. Because I was like, I want to get this Mirage because it's very different from the Studio Series. And this Airazor, I hear great things. The Bumblebee, I'm like, it's another Bumblebee. You know, very worst case scenario. I just have another Bumblebee to put on my Bumblebee shelf. But let's get this open. This is so irritating. Why do they have to tape it so securely, too? You know, why can't it just be like, oh, here it is? Seriously, like unwrapping a Christmas present, except it's just full of tons of little paper shards, and it gets everywhere. Alright, there's the swords. Let's get back to it. I'm getting these everywhere. I hate them. Every time I open a toy, I'm going to point out how much I hate these. Alright, so we got Airazor out, and this seems very, very cool. It's funny, when the original pictures were leaked of this is pretty much the first Rise of the Beast toy that was leaked. Rise of the Beast Airazor leak! And it's like, oh, this is how she's going to look in the movie, which is very funny, considering Hasbro said that the studio didn't give them any reference material for her robot mode. Because they didn't even design a robot mode for her. She didn't. So both this and the Studio Series are just Hasbro's own interpretations. And I appreciate both of them. I think they're both really cool. And again, it's cool to see how different designers interpret the same thing. I'm very curious to see how this goes, because I do enjoy the Studio Series one. The Studio Series one, which is right here, is very nice. But this toy is essentially just a reskin of the Kingdom one. Like, the transformation, almost everything is just Kingdom Airazor. And this one, I can already tell you, there's a lot of more unique things going on with this. It has a different feel to it. The legs, I think, are going to do a lot more. I really do appreciate the changes. I really do. The wings, I think, look cool. I like how the wings seem kind of sharper and thinner, because I think the legs are actually going to form a decent amount of the wing. Yeah, it's really cool seeing this side by side. I'll probably go ahead and transform her too, just because, you know, just because I transformed a Bumblebee. I'll probably go ahead and give you that, since this is pretty easy to transform. So I really do dig them. The Studio Series is bigger. And again, I do like the Studio Series, but I don't know, this may be a case. I've heard so many good things about this one. This may be a case of I actually might suggest this over the Studio Series. We'll just have to see. So I'm noticing her legs, or her arms, that will become her legs, have this kind of very fluid joint right here. It's a little too loose for my liking, but it's very, very fluid. It bends both ways, because it does turn into the legs for the Beast mode. But still, you know, the articulation's good. I really like these swords, too. That's something we don't really get with Airazor usually. She doesn't have a waist articulation joint, but she does have a lot going on with the legs. She doesn't have a tilt in the legs either, so it's not looking too bad so far. It is seeming pretty cool. I feel like the transformation might be what really wows me, because so far the robot mode, it's not impressing me too much. I think I kind of prefer the Cheetor robot mode. The Deluxe Cheetor, because I really was impressed with that. But then again, I'm more of a Cheetor fan than an Airazor fan. I do appreciate this figure, though. It is pretty nice. I am digging it. So its articulation, I already have kind of gone over it a little bit. Ball joint at the head. It looks like it has a little hinge, slight hinge, but then a ball joint at the shoulder. Swivel, funny hinge. Looks like maybe a sort of hinge at the wrist, kind of, for the transformation. Does it have a rotation? No. Nothing at the waist. Universal hips, that's kind of interesting. Thigh swivel, knee bend, and then ankle. And the ankle moves pretty far too, so that can help with certain poses. Like, yeah, that's looking pretty cool. I do think if she had a waist rotation, it would help. But it's still very fun. I would say the robot mode's probably a little bit more fun than the Studio Series. Because I enjoy the Studio Series one, I do, but it is very, you know, Kingdom Airazor, you know? Has a lot of wing on the back. It's very Kingdom Airazor. You know, it's a toy I've already had for a few years. And then if you want to count Airazor, it's a toy I've had a couple times in a few years. I also have that Skywarp repaint too, so it's not anything too special. Before I get her transformed, though, I do want to do one comparison, because this is one of the first times we've been able to complete a team with this Kingdom Airazor right here. or this kingdom, this Rise of the Beast Deluxe Airazor, we can actually complete the mainline Maximals from the movie. So the Voyagers are more movie-based than the Deluxes, but they still kind of fit in. The Deluxes are definitely more of like a hybrid between Beast Wars and the movie designs. But, like I said, we have the whole team now. So we've got Airazor, Rhinox, Cheetor, and I am extremely lucky to have found Optimus Primal. I didn't realize that this thing was going for like $80 on eBay. That is insane. It's a good figure, but man, the Studio Series one's looking a lot better than that. So yeah, we have a complete Maximal team. That's super sweet. I'm really happy with that. And I will have, the Maximals in Studio Series and in this form. My plan is probably to have one in robot mode and one in beast mode. We'll see, though. We'll see. But it is pretty cool, though, having the characters in two different forms. I do appreciate that. I think this whole mainline versus Studio Series thing's been very interesting for Rise of the Beasts. I wonder if we're going to get more mainline stuff, though. Like, looking at these, is this it? Are we going to get, maybe a mainline RC or a mainline Scourge, mainline Battle Trap? I'm not sure. I really am unsure. Because we've gotten a lot of characters in the mainline, but not all of them. So maybe at the very end of the year, they'll be like, oh, here's more mainline. Here's a Scourge and Battle Trap and, I don't know. We'll see. Because maybe a mainline Scourge might end up better than the Studio Series. Maybe, possibly. I'm just going to put it out there. It might end up better. But yeah, very cool having the Maximal team. I will not transform all them into their beast modes. Because I have time to transform Bumblebee and Airazor, but not all of them. Not all of them. So I wonder what her swords do. Because I'm guessing they're going to plug in maybe somewhere on the wings. Oop! I say as I just drop it. It looks like they plug in right there. There we go. I guess the direction you want to have them plugged in can vary, but I think this looks cool, having the blade kind of match with the feather. All right, let's see. What are we doing here? What are we doing? So I'm going to guess the foot maybe flips in like that. And then the head. Oop, we're flipping that. We're flipping this now. We're doing some things. We're making some changes. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, the head's got a lot of articulation for that bird. Whoa, is it going to go like this? Is it going to, like, do a whole flip? I think so. Whoa, that's wild. Does anything else happen? Because I think these are going to be the front of the wings, right? I think so. Here, let me at least look at the back of the box. Okay, so these are going to end up kind of on top. These will become the bird legs, and I think that's pretty much it for those. Those just kind of go down there. Looks like the robot mode head's going to stay down there. That's going to go like that. And then I guess that needs to flip down. Yeah, that's not flipped. There we go. That was probably the thing I was missing. Does this flip out at all? That part of the wing? Yeah, it does. Okay, that forms the tip of the wing. That's cool. This is pretty neat. I am digging this. And then I guess that's going to... Do I have this flipped the wrong way, maybe? Does it go like that instead? Okay, it goes like this instead. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting the hinge to kind of follow through. But it seems like this is going to connect right there. So far, I'm not going to lie, I do think this figure might have been a little overhyped. Because it's cool. It is cool. I really do enjoy how the wings form. But I do think it might have been a little overhyped. It's cool, though. This is a cool bird mode. I am digging this. We can probably get the arms or legs folded a little more flush. But yeah, I'm digging it. It is nice. I do feel like those joints on the legs are going to be a little too loose for the bird to even stand properly. Oh, there goes that. Okay. I do fear for that. Oh, these fold all the way back. Okay. So I'm not sure if it's going to be able to really stand because of how loose these leg joints are. Yeah, it's not going to really be able to perch. Yeah, it's just too loose. The joints are just too loose. Which is a shame. Because I would like my toy to stand. But those hinges are just too loose. I know it's kind of down there. But it's not going to stand. It's just not something it can do. It is neat looking, though. It is a neat looking bird. I don't think the wings are going to have too much articulation. Looks like they can flap. You can make the wings flap, I guess. Get that little hinge part more flush. And then we can get it flapping. There we go. Oh, something. Okay, I thought something popped off. So you can at least have the wings flap, but you can't really have them wrap around or anything because they are the robot mode legs. I do like the head articulation, though. I do think that's pretty nice. It is a little disjointed, but it's a Transformers toy. I'm not going to be too harsh on it. So I do enjoy this. I really do. But I do think it was overhyped. I'm not the biggest fan. I actually do think my favorite mainline Maximal is probably still Cheetor. Which is funny because my favorite Studio Series Maximal so far is Cheetor. But I don't have Rhinox or Primal yet. So let me do a jump cut again and transform the Studio Series, and I will let you know my thoughts on that. So having them both transformed here, it is pretty much no contest for me, unfortunately. It's very disappointing that this Airazor, the Deluxe, was pretty overhyped. I thought it was going to be pretty great, but it can't even stand. So I don't know if we can have it sit at all. Sure, just sit like how birds sit, I guess. I don't know. The Studio Series one, man, neither of them are super accurate because in the movie she had like that very like jointed, cybernetic looking beak and everything. The head sculpts for the birds aren't super accurate. But for me, the Studio Series one, it's just, yes, it is just Kingdom Airazor, just reskinned. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because the wingspan's really nice. I love the articulation. It could use some more paint on these feathers, but it does have a little bit of paint on them at least. It looks prettier. I think it's going to be the nicer Airazor to have in Beast Mode. And since, she only was in Beast Mode in the movie, this is probably the Airazor I will keep in Beast Mode. This one, it's really unfortunate that those legs are just really poor. They just don't work. But I do really appreciate this, the legs of the robot forming the wing. I do think that's pretty clever. I think it's pretty ingenious. But it's just not good enough. It's just, the joints are too loose. It looks nice. I feel like on paper it's a nice figure, but I didn't have the most fun time transforming it either, I'm not gonna lie. It's fun. It is fun, and I still do enjoy this mainline one. But for me, for Airazor, I think there is a very clear winner, and unfortunately it is not the mainline one. So yeah, I kind of did it with Bumblebee. I'll do it here. Which Airazor do I recommend? The Studio Series, honestly. It's very accessible, very affordable. It's out there. It's just better to me. I do really enjoy the robot mode on this one. I do. But it's got too many faults. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It was overhyped. If you see people saying this is potentially like one of the best figures of the year, just know that it probably isn't. Alrighty. With that out of the way, with Airazor out of the way, let me talk about the last and, I don't know, we'll see least, Mirage. So I'm very curious about this Mirage, because this is the first Mirage toy that I have gotten. I've not gotten any of like the super basic ones. There really haven't been a lot of Mirage toys available. It's kind of funny though, given how he was probably the star of the show. Even people that I've talked to that didn't like the movie too much, all of them said their favorite part was Mirage. So, probably the best character in the movie, and we haven't really had a lot of toys of him yet. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I'm also very curious to see how this particular toy of him goes, because it's very odd, very underpainted, very based on concept art, very unusual. We'll see, though. We'll see. This has the potential to be very nice, but also has the potential to be very odd. Hooray, more of these. So, my first impressions of Mirage. His legs don't seem to be transformed right. That's my first impression. There we go. So, he does seem to be mistransformed out of the box, because these are going to, like, flip in. There we go. So now my first impression, he's got a lot of backpack. Oh, I love that metallic blue, though. That's nice looking. Because he's not painted silver, like, at all. And he's a very silver character in the movie. So he's a gray kind of color. Very dull gray, I have to say, unfortunately. He is not a very bright gray. The wheel placement is not super accurate. It should be more on his back, but it's kind of on his shoulders. His wheels, too! This is so weird. Why are they cast in gray plastic and painted black? That looks so ugly. That is really ugly. On the box, they're black. But here they are gray and painted black. They should have been, like, on the same thing as, like, heck, even the thighs or the feet or mostly the hands. Because the hands are black. That is a very odd color for the wheels. It's not the first time I've seen it, but it's very odd. His bicep swivel does not want to rotate. There we go. Seemed like it was a little stuck right there. So I'm actually not hating on this guy so far. It's very unique, I would say. Very unique feel, very unique kind of look to him. I mean, it's the first time I've had a figure of Mirage from this movie. How does the cannon fit in his hand? It's funny, it's very similar to the Studio Series instead of transforming like the Bumblebee in this pack. It does look pretty accurate, though. This figure is really lacking paint, though. He could use a lot more paint. Then again, I feel like I've been spoiled by figures like 3-0 and YOLO Park, where they just have so much color accuracy. Getting a figure like this, it's something we were kind of used to back in like Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction days. But I feel like even Studio Series has kind of spoiled us. So getting a main line again for a Transformers movie, a main line, it kind of highlights some of the weirdness that we haven't seen in quite some time. These are definitely made for a more budgeted, more child-focused audience. Especially these 3-packs. These 3-packs are only like $55-$60, something like that. It's a better deal than getting, 3 Deluxes for $75. But I'm actually not too upset with this Mirage so far. I think proportionally, it does capture the character pretty well. My main issue is probably just the paint. The head sculpt I can look past because this is all over the place in concept art, in marketing material. This is Mirage's face for a lot of it. So I can look past that because that's just what Hasbro had for reference material for the longest time. So yeah, I can look past that. I do wish he had some more paint on the thighs, though, because I always loved the design of his thighs in the movie. He just had these cool angles to him. And it's sculpted there, but it's just not painted. My rewind decided to fall off the shelf for some reason. But anyways, yeah, this is a pretty interesting Mirage. Unfortunately, I don't have a Studio Series to compare him to yet because it's not out yet. But that one is actually covered in silver paint. And it does have a more accurate head. So I'm really curious to see how the Studio Series is going to compare to this. But so far, I am kind of digging it. I kind of am. I do like the metallic blue paint. It's just a shame that it's met with very dull gray plastic. It's like they made no attempt to make the gray plastic silver. It kind of reminds me of Dark of the Moon Sideswipe, Soundwave, toys like that, where they were just like, they're supposed to be silver. No, they're dull gray, actually. So yeah, it's whatever. His backpack is huge, and it does tab in. Like, it does have a place where it does tab in to the back, but it's literally so huge, it's easy to kind of push it out of the way. I do like the gun, but it does kind of, lose a place to go once you take it out of his hand. I do like this Mirage, I do. In the robot mode, I am actually digging this. And I really haven't had any exposure to this toy before opening it, so very fascinated to see how the transformation and everything goes. So his articulation, he's got a ball joint at the head, pretty much just a swivel, though, with functionality. Ball joints at the shoulders, also hinges for transformation. You can move this kibble around. You can have it up. I think it looks better if it's back. He does have bicep swivels and elbow band. He does have an in and out for the wrist. He does have a waist swivel, which is pretty cool. Ball joint, thigh swivel, knee bend, and nothing at the ankle. You can see how it's all rigged up there. That's not going to move. So I'm actually kind of impressed. It's not the worst figure. It's not the best, but it's pretty decent. I think if this guy had a way better paint deco, people would be singing a different tune about it. I genuinely think so. So yeah, let's get it transformed. I have no idea how to do this. I'm very curious to see how this goes. So let me try to figure it out here. So I'm going to guess. Oop, I broke it. I broke it. That is actually something to keep in mind. That does come off pretty easy. That might be missing if you're trying to get a used copy. So there we go. It goes like this. Okay. So I don't think this is an actual licensed Porsche vehicle mode. I know the Studio Series one is, but I don't think this figure is going to be a licensed vehicle mode. So I'm guessing that might kind of go to the front. I don't know. We'll see. Let's unfold his backpack because he's got a lot going on here. So, oh wow. That is a very big portion of the vehicle on his back. That is very huge. So, I guess we'll fold that back. I feel like his arms are supposed to do a little bit more. Because you can see they're on way more of a hinge that goes way more up. But the ball joint doesn't want to straighten too much. I don't know if the head does anything. Let's work on the legs real quick. Let's get the legs worked on. Okay, so that does a flip-me-do. Oh, that's pretty ingenious. I like that. That's pretty cool. I like how that goes together. So we are going to want to swivel the waist, for sure. Because that's actually really clever. Here, I'll show you again on the other side. I just kind of did it. So this folds, and essentially the leg's kind of going to fold inside out and kind of re-collapse in on itself. That's pretty ingenious. I really like that. I actually genuinely appreciate that. That's a cool element of transformation. So I'm guessing then after that, this is going to go all the way back. And this is all going to tab together back here. Maybe, if things don't get stuck. There we go. There we go. So this is all going to tab in together like one big happy family. I say as it's not tabbing together. Oh, do the arms... What? There we go. So the arms, they do... Is there another hinge? There's another hinge in there. Okay. So that's what happens. So there's another hinge in the arms. So let's move this kibble out again. This big old chunk of car. Let's get this out of our way so we can see what's going on with the arms. So the arms collapse down. I thought they were going to collapse up, but they collapse down. Okay. This is a very cool transformation. I'm actually really enjoying this. So then after that, do these go out at all? No. Sometimes I appreciate it when panels like that hinge out so they just get out of your way. But it looks like this guy's not going to be one of those cases. So, seems like we're having some collision going on right here, where the arms are kind of colliding. So maybe we want to wait to collapse the arms. Ooh, there goes that again. I swear I'm going to break it. So we want to wait to collapse the arms, I think, because it seems like we're facing some collision here. So, why don't you just look at the instructions? That's not how I do things. It's not how I do things. Oh, man, it's so painful to watch this. Man, it's fun. It's fun for me, okay? Those are genuinely things I've heard, too. It's like, man, I feel like I say too much in my Transformers videos like this. It's not how I do things. Looking at the instructions is boring. It's so boring. It's like, you know, playing a puzzle game, but then just, oh, I've got cheats. I've got, you know, passes to solve the puzzle. It's like, no. Why would you ever use that? The whole point of the game is the puzzles. It seems like there is some weird order of operations thing going on with the arms in this car panel here that I just didn't figure out properly, but we got there. We got there. And last but not least, we are going to connect this whole front section somehow. And there we go. I have done it somehow. And there is his not Porsche vehicle mode. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it is silver plastic. It's like not silver paint. It's just dull gray, kind of silvery plastic. But I am not gonna lie to you. This is a very nice looking car. I love the metallic blue. The shapes are very nice. This is a very good figure. If this was just painted silver instead of gray, I think people would be liking this thing a lot more. This actually has the potential to hold a candle against the Studio Series. Again, I don't have the Studio Series. I can't say for sure. But out of this 3-pack, It's kind of funny, just like the first 3-pack, where Wheeljack was my most anticipated, and it let me down, and Nightbird was just alright, and Cheetor ended up the surprise hit. Airazor was my most anticipated, and it let me down. Bumblebee is just alright, and Mirage, I think, is the surprise hit. This is actually not a bad figure. I like it. I recommend it. I seriously do. I like this. Now, granted, I don't have the Studio Series to compare it to. So once I get that, yes, I will do a comparison. We will see which one is better. But I like this. I like this. I do like this. Alrighty, this video has been going on for quite some time. That goes on the back, by the way. There's a lot to unpack with this 3-pack. No pun intended. But I did it. We got here. Here is the Rise of the Beast Jungle Mission number 2 Mainline Deluxe 3-pack. Pretty decent toys. Not the greatest. Not the worst. Mirage is definitely my favorite. Then probably Bumblebee, and then Airazor. I feel like the legs just really let me down on that one. They cannot hold her up to save her life. They're very interesting toys. I feel like Bumblebee and Airazor, if you think they'll be cool for you, if you kind of dig the differences they got going on, they might be worth a pickup, but they're not something you need if you have the Studio Series. And if you just have these, I would still suggest going out to get the Studio Series. Mirage, though, we don't have the Studio Series to compare to yet, so it's kind of hard to make a call, but I really do like the Mirage. I really do. They're fun. They're all 3 of them are fun in their own ways. They all have their quirks. They all have their irritations. But overall, at the end of the day, if you're still hyped over Rise of the Beast like I am, even all this time after the movie came out, this is a really awesome 3-pack to pick up. I really enjoy it. I really do. It's a shame that the movie didn't perform too well. I just think, movies ain't doing good right now. And I feel like the Michael Bay movies really kind of dampened the reputation of Transformers movies as a whole. But the toys have been pretty nice. Even at their lowest, they've been pretty nice. I think this is probably one of the best movie toy lines we have gotten in a long time. I've really been enjoying it. And let me know what you think about this 3-pack. Again, Mirage is my favorite, but let me know if you have this, which one's your favorite? Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.